Hey guys, I'm back with part 2 of the fireman cup. Part 1 I posted last night, and that was how to get the colors, which is still on my turners tonight. I'm going to take it off now. Everything is dry. You do see that I have some epoxy and some color in there. This is going to be easy to get off. I just take my X-Acto knife and I just trim off the epoxy on the inside. You just want to scrape it around. You're not going to hurt the cup. I mean, you don't want to gouge it, but if you just scrape it along the edge, it should come out fairly easy. Also, if you have a thick coat of epoxy on the inside of your tumbler, if you can just work it up underneath the edge of the epoxy, it will come out in one piece. You just work it up under the edge and then just lift it out and it'll come out in a whole ring. This one didn't have that much epoxy on it. I did good that time. Okay, so the epoxy's out, and I need, for the most part, what we didn't get there, I'll show you how to clean it up. I'm going to show you how to clean up the alcohol ink on the inside. I use 100% acetone, just plain fingernail polish remover. You can use a rag or a paper towel or little makeup pads. I always be very careful when you do this not to get it on the outside of your tumbler. Just pour a little bit in your cup. You'll see, I just have a little bit in there and you see the color already coming off. You can get a rag or get some paper towels. I like to use paper towels. That way I can just throw it away afterwards and I don't have that nasty rag. I stick it in the tumbler. I move my hand around. Soak up the alcohol ink. And just keep working it around on the inside of the tumbler to get all the ink out. Work around the top. You can feel when you do this if there's any epoxy left. See, I'm getting the alcohol ink out. There's still some left in there. If you feel the epoxy left in there that you didn't get out with the X-Acto knife, and this is what I'm talking about when I said just if you can get it under the edge of the epoxy, it'll lift out in a piece. See, I can just pull it out. Finish wiping it out with the acetone rag. And I'm doing this, I usually do it at the very end after I get my final coat of epoxy on. I'll do it again, so if I miss some of it this time, It's okay. It's not a big deal because when I put that final coat on, I'll go back and do the same step, but you can see most of it's out. One last time. Before I send it out to ship. I want to make sure it's nice and clean. I'm going to show you also, I have already printed my images out ahead of time. I got my images off of Google and I downloaded them into Design Space, and then I just used my print and cut feature. Very easy. Okay, so I've gotten most of my alcohol inks out before I start my water slide, and that was for sake of just showing you all how I clean the cup up when it's completed. Like I said, I usually do it at the end, but I wanted to show y'all how I did that. See, there's very little left, and I'll do that after I complete the cup. Again, make sure you don't get acetone on the outside of the cup or you will ruin your cup. Always wash your cup with soap and water before you ship it out also. Okay, my designs I printed on clear water slide. Got this off of Amazon. It's an off-brand. It's, as far as I know, I mean, it's not any brand name. It just says water slide decal transfer paper, transparent clear. This is what I use on the fire cup, is the clear water slide. I've already cut my images out. The cup, the first cup I did, I used a little bit different of an image than what I'm going to use tonight. I just picked burnt tree images in Google. I found the trees that look burnt that I liked. So I'm going to use this a little bit different of a design tonight. Okay, I printed it on the clear side of my water slide, and as you see, it has a little sheen to it. The back is just plain matte, and this one does have a little sheen to it. I printed it out. This is 9.24 inches long. I let the computer, the Design Space software, adjust the height. I just put in the length. I cut out two. This is a little shorter because it's already cut. I cut out two of these at 9.24 inches long. I'll tell you in a minute why I cut out two. I'll show you. When I put this on the cup, it's not going to go all the way around. It's a little off. So I printed out the second one. I cut a little piece off of the second one, just enough to cover the spot where it's not going to fit all the way around the cup. I just picked out whatever little burnt tree I wanted. Printed out my fireman. These are the same firemen that I had on the first cup. Cut them all out. I always make sure when you cut your images, or I always make sure when I cut my images out of my clear water slide, I round the images so I don't have any square edges. Okay, so got my cup. Also must have is paper towels. You're going to want paper towels for this because you're going to blot. So make sure you have it handy. Warm water. Have my warm water here in my Ozark Trail cup. I don't have water down here in the basement, so I put warm water in my cup, transfer it downstairs here. Have a little plastic bowl. I think it was a lunch meat bowl or something. Make sure it's clean so you don't get anything on your tumbler you don't want. Okay, so my first step is I'm going to put on the trees. And I will leave this, put this down in the water. See if you can see this. And I usually have a little bit bigger of a bowl. I don't tonight. Leave it soak for a few seconds, maybe 30 seconds. Have your tumbler ready. And you'll see it's starting to slide off. See where it starts to slide? I'm gonna put this on here so you can see me lay it on. I just pull it right off. Put it where I want it to be on the tumbler. I just wrap it around. And I've never done this on the cup turner before, so. But hey, it works. So I learned something new tonight too. Okay. Now, it almost fit. I want it to be straight at the bottom of my cup. I want to pull all the wrinkles out. Now, it's okay if you cut this in more than one piece. If you can't get it straight and you have to cut your image, see how it's a little bit crooked right here? And you have to cut your image to make it line up better, just cut it. Just find a spot you want to cut it. Cut it. And then line it up where it's straight. Overlap it. If you're going to cut it, make sure you overlap it. I blot with my paper towel. The whole time I'm blotting, I rub out those wrinkles. You want to do it gentle so you don't tear your water slide or wrinkle it more. You just have to keep playing with it. Get all those wrinkles out and make sure it still stays lined up the way you want it lined up. You just have to work with it. If you get a piece of your water slide and it curls up on the edge, wet your fingers just a little bit to get it back out, so it won't be curled up on the edge, and it'll save you from having to reprint or recut another piece. Just take your time. Just going over it once more to make sure. Have my wrinkles out. Okay. As you can see, this is where I pieced it together. There's a little gap there. I'm going to take my little cut-off piece, soak it in the water, just like I did the first piece. Your water, you don't want it really hot. You just really want it lukewarm. If you get it too hot, it'll, your picture will disintegrate. Okay, so you can see I overlapped it. Once you get the epoxy on, you will not see that little spot where I overlap it. The epoxy will cover it and it will hide it. Now, as you can see, it wasn't too hard at all. Now I want to put my fireman on. I do the same thing with my fireman as I did that little piece that I overlapped. I'll just pick out where I want what fireman. There's no right or wrong. We'll start with this fireman here. I'm gonna start with these two firemen here. I'm gonna put them right in between those two trees. And it's just personal preference. So you put your fireman wherever you want. Soak it in the water, about 20-30 seconds, till it starts sliding off the backing. As you can see it sliding. And I want them standing between the trees talking. Place it where you want, blot the water off. You can see those two firemen. Do the other ones. Just until it starts moving off the backing. As your water gets colder, it's going to take longer for it to move off that backing. Put it on, blot with your napkin or your paper towel. it slides off. Now, when I did my image on my water slide, after I printed it, I took it outside and I sprayed it with Rust-Oleum 2x Ultra Cover, and I used matte clear. You can use gloss clear, you can use whatever kind of clear. I just choose the matte. It doesn't matter, it's all going to end up shiny after you epoxy it anyway, so it really doesn't matter. My football's looking bad. Okay guys, my images are on. I've blotted my cup, got my water out. And that's all I do. This will stay on my turner because it's in a safe place. It will stay there until tomorrow night. Oops. It'll stay there until tomorrow night. I let my water slide dry 24 hours before I put my coat of epoxy. That makes sure all that water that is trapped up underneath that water slide, even though you think you got it all out because you blotted it to death, doesn't mean it's really all out. There are little spots of water that's still going to be up under there. The moisture is going to be up under there, so you really want it to be good and dry before you apply your next layer, your final coat of epoxy. So tomorrow night I'll put the epoxy on, clear coat, and it will spin and it will turn, and then it will be completed. Then I will go back inside and trim the epoxy off of the inside, and I will finish getting the rest of this off, the alcohol inks off with acetone, and then I will wash it in Dawn dish detergent and water, hot water, before I put it in the package to send it off. If you have any questions, feel free to comment. I'll help you out as much as I can, but that is how I do the clear water slide on my fireman tumbler. Y'all have a great day. Thanks for watching.